is the biggest bad guy character in professional wrestling?
When's the last time you got laid?
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Hey, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Can we tell the truth about Dusty sooner or later?
Bro, less people wanted that than are currently watching our stream.
And you know Vince, and you still think, are these true? It's like...
Welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Good evening, everyone. You're here at the Mark It Down podcast. I am your host this evening, Matt Kescone, almost flubbed my own name, a.k.a. Mean Streak Matt. And we watched Monday Night Raw tonight. What everybody think? Well, I'll let you know how I think, and you can comment as we go along. Tonight, it was on Sci-Fi Channel, so definitely had some technical difficulties right off the bat, but managed to see that Gunther came out, suit and tie, looking real spiffy, with that World Heavyweight Championship around his shoulder. And I got to give it to our producer boy, Eric. He called this, that Gunther's first challenger is going to be none other than the Viper himself, Randy Orton. Randy Orton comes out. That was, I guess, part of the deal. Like they said that, we had 3 people from SmackDown tonight, but we're only supposed to get 2, but we'll get to that. Anyway, Randy Orton comes out. He's challenging Gunther at Bash at Berlin. They have a little promo back and forth. It's pretty good. Again, I didn't see all of it. I had some technical difficulties. I think the best part of it, though, was that Randy Orton's like, hey, you say you're like you're a living legend, and that's fine. Hey, that's great. You know, I used to kill some legends back in my day. You know, champ. Young champ. So that's what we're getting at Bash Berlin. And I know a lot of people right off the bat are going to be like, oh, Gunther's going to win. That's going to be the way. Because they even referenced they had a match at King of the Ring. Gunther won that match to become King of the Ring. He beat Randy Orton. But Randy Orton, he did noticeably have one shoulder. Maybe it was this shoulder. Maybe it was that shoulder. I don't know. Regardless, he had one of these shoulders of his up off of the mat. It wasn't a legit 3 count. Gunther referenced this and he's like, that didn't sit right with me. Like, when I beat you, I want there to be no doubt about it. I want to beat you clean. And that's really what Gunther's been all about. Even James referenced it a couple nights ago when we reviewed SummerSlam. Gunther likes to get it done on his own, and the few times that it hasn't happened, it hasn't sat right with him. And that's evidence right here when he talks about Randy Orton. So will Randy win? Will Gunther win? I'm likely to say Gunther, but I mean, never count Randy Orton. I mean, his last world title, I don't think a lot of people saw that coming. It was like, okay, Randy Orton's heel. Randy Orton's a bad guy again. Randy Orton's an asshole. But like, it's Drew McIntyre. He's like at the top of the game. He's the savior of this pandemic era. There's no way he's going to lose the title to Randy Orton, but he did. He won it right back. But you know, like the same thing could happen here. Randy Orton could beat him. So yeah, here we go on Twitter or X. Gunther says, absolutely nothing catches me out of nowhere. Randy Orton says, it doesn't need to be out of nowhere. I want you to see it coming. So Bash at Berlin, the rematch. I think this is where definitively Gunther wins and beats Randy Orton. Maybe not even definitively. Maybe he has to win by heel shenanigans. We'll see. What do you guys think? Sound off in the comments. Anywho, I think the next thing that came up, again, technical difficulties. I had to actually grab dinner. Damian Priest did an impassioned promo out on the ring. He's like, Finn Balor, you're a scumbag. You stabbed me in the back. You're jealous. You're trash. You know where I've been. You know, like, it took, like, how hard it was for me to get here on my own. And, like, the Judgment Day was, like, my first family. But now you see I hear all these people. I see all these people supporting me. They're my new family now. His familia. And then Finn gets on the Titantron, is like, oh, well, every time you turn your back, I'm going to stab you in it. Every time you think you let your guard down, I'm going to be there. So this is not over. And then the camera and he says, I'm not going to do it alone. Camera pulls back. We've got obviously JD McDonough, one half of the tag team champions with Finn Balor, but we also have Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, and Carlito. So the Judgment Day, part 3, version 3, whatever you want to call it, that's this group. Rhea I was about to say Dom. Rhea and Priest are out. Liv Morgan is in. I guess that's what they're going with. I wasn't sure they were going to do this, and we have a clip on X here. Damian Priest is so good, man. Glad Triple H made the right call, pulling the title on him when everyone said not to. All you need is a chance to run with the ball, and Damian did that. I think the title reign was hit or miss. I'm glad they did it, though. I'll give it to him. Like, we talked about his title reigns and how it never really seemed like he had a solid one. But I think his character work is there, and I do think he is a solid performer. I really want to see him perform with Bad Bunny again. Bro, do you think Bad Bunny's coming back for this? Because I was thinking about it. Like, I thought either the Judgment Day would all go their separate ways. Like, you'd have Finn and JD being the tag champs. You'd have Liv and Dom. They're on their little honeymoon. And then obviously Priest would be feuding with Finn, and then Rio be feuding with Liv. And then I thought Carlito would just be like the abandoned stepchild, like he would just have to do something else, probably job by himself. James in the comments, who couldn't be on the pod tonight, but is here supporting us in the comments, says, I think by the end of it, all he grew so much as a performer while as champion. SummerSlam ? He finally felt like a main eventer. I think, yeah, that was a great match. I think we said it was match of the night. And it's funny you bring that up, James. I said I didn't think much of Sammy's reign as IC champ. I take that back, and we'll go through that. But I think at SummerSlam, both Bayley and Priest had great championship wins at WrestleMania. The reigns were questionable, but they went out on a bang. They went out on a high note at SummerSlam with their respective title reigns, and I think it made it worthwhile, at least in my book. And it sounds like you might be in the same boat as me, and that's why we're such good friends. So the Judgment Day did not go their separate ways. They just exiled a couple members. It is interesting. I wonder how that's going to work out. Like, I don't know if I necessarily saw Dom being like, yeah, fuck Damian Priest. You know what I mean? Like, they've got familiarity with each other, like obviously like Dom's American and like has Mexican heritage, and Damian Priest is Puerto Rican, but like they both have that Latin blood in them. So I felt like there was more familiarity between them, at least like hypothetically, than perhaps there might be with Dom and Finn Balor. But who's to say? It's not all about countrymanship, perhaps. Blood thicker than water, yada yada yada. I don't know, but I was curious where they were going to go with it, and I wouldn't have guessed that. Someone on X says, I hope Joshua Grisham. Oh God, Joshua Grisham. He's on X says, I hope you confessed your sins today because I'm sending your big-headed ass straight to hell. And that was from Damian Priest. That's in a promo later. There was a couple good promos tonight that in regards to that. So let me get a sip here. So yeah, the group basically stuck together, and now my wheels are turning as I'm talking to you guys, and I'm thinking, you've got on one side you've got Damian Priest and Rhea, just the two of them, and on the other side you got Carlito, like who's I guess maybe he's a full-fledged member now. We'll probably find out in the coming weeks, but we're still going to count him because he's there. JD McDonough, Finn Balor, Liv Morgan, and Dominic Mysterio. 5 against 2 could potentially Bad Bunny jump into this situation. Maybe Rey Mysterio, but he's got the whole LWO thing still. Maybe Savio Vega will come back. Boom. Those 5. I got the 5 right there, guys. 5 versus 5. Boom. We figured it out. Anyway, moving on. Let me get to my list of what I saw next. James, again in the comments, says, also Priest has always been Team Rhea. Once Dom made his decision with her, it made it undeniable where Priest would land. I agree with that sentiment that like that Priest wouldn't support Dom's decision to turn on Rhea, but I wouldn't necessarily put Dom's decision to side against Rhea to also side against Priest. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like maybe Dom and Liv could separate themselves from the Priest and the Judgment Day scenario and only have to deal with Rhea. Just have Dom on the side for all these matches and like get hit with stuff on the side. But anyway, moving on. What do we got here? Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser. Pretty solid hitting match. Not as hard hitting as maybe Gunther and Priest, but pretty hard hitting. I liked it. It's great that Ludwig Kaiser's back. Good for him. And it's cool that he's just not immediately attached to Gunther. Obviously they're still friends, they're still allies, they're still an Imperium. It's only a 2-man group at this point. It's a duo, but he still wants his own levels of success. And why not start with Sheamus? So he's fighting Sheamus, and like I said, it's pretty hard hitting. My big gripe was we got something from X here. Sheamus and Ludwig really delivering a Euro Classic to kick off Raw. This match is fire. I wouldn't quite go that far, but I would say, yeah, Euro Classic for sure. Match itself was not fire. What stands out to me, hey, Hunter Iggy in the comments, mark it down. What's up? We're all good here. Just marking out for Raw. It's just me and producer boy Eric, who was right about Randy Orton taking on Gunther as his first challenger. So again, bravo, Eric. Thank you. Thank you for being here and helping me out. It's always good to have the support. Again, you're going to get into my big gripe with this match. Ludwig Kaiser did this thing where he's like on the entrance ramp and he runs around and does a drop kick on Sheamus against the steps. And it was fine. It was actually kind of mediocre, if I'm being honest. But don't do that when you have a guy like Braun Breaker who does the exact same thing and spears people, and it's like the coolest shit you've ever seen. Like, if you can't compete at any level, like, and I'm just saying in that one regard, because again, I think Kaiser is good. I think he's talented. I'm glad he had this match. Give him more opportunities. But work to your strengths. And if somebody else is on the roster on the same show as you is doing a similar move and they're doing it like above and beyond, and you're doing it at like a mediocre level, don't do that move. Like, figure something else out to do. That was my main gripe. Anyway, Pete Dunne comes out, tries to hit Sheamus with the shillelagh. Shout out to Finley. Hope you're doing well, Finley. The man who loves to fight. I guess Pete Dunne loves to fight, or at least he loves to fight and try and screw over Sheamus. Sheamus dodges the shillelagh, lays out Pete Dunne on the ring, the announce table, goes back into the ring, finishes off Kaiser with a brogue kick, gets the 1, 2, 3, and that's the match. Again, Kaiser looked pretty good in this match. I thought maybe it might end when Sheamus had him in the cloverleaf. I feel like a lesser opponent, if you gave Sheamus a jobber and Sheamus towards the end of the match put him in a cloverleaf, Sheamus has one with that move. Not in a long time, not regularly ever, but he has one with the cloverleaf. Sometimes they call it the Texas cloverleaf. It's like, the man's from Ireland. Just call it the cloverleaf. We don't need to call it the Texas cloverleaf. Let the Texans call it the Texas cloverleaf. Anyway, that was my review of the match. Euro Classic? Sure. Fire match? Not in my book. Not here on the Market Down, according to me. All right. Let's keep moving on. What do we got next? we have a Wyatt 6 video that has like, it's kind of like a throwback. So they were in, God, where the hell were they tonight? I forgot where they were. Oh, Baltimore. They were in Baltimore. So there was significance to this. A lot of people said, why didn't the Wyatt 6 have a match at SummerSlam? And I kind of agree. But to their credit, they had a match tonight and they were the main event, and there was a lot of lead up to this. So the first part of the lead up was this video package that showed a lot of the original Wyatt family who coincidentally debuted in Baltimore 11 years ago. So it's kind of like a homecoming of, you know, you've got the Wyatt family and now you have the Wyatt 6. The Wyatt family debuted in Baltimore. Now the Wyatt 6 are having a debut match in Baltimore. So I thought that was pretty cool and worked out timeline-wise. Like, good for them for figuring that out. It's always great when a plan comes together. So the video package I thought was well done. I didn't even realize it was Bo Dallas / Uncle Howdy narrating at first. I was just kind of like, oh, like maybe this is some Bray Wyatt, you know, dialogue I haven't heard before. He sounds a little bit different. And then like, I was just like, oh, wow, that's actually Bo. Like, that's really good. I feel like he's really coming into his own, and this was cool. After that video, we had Lyra Valkyria versus Shayna Baszler. And man, do I have some thoughts on this. I think this would be the perfect time for James to chime in and be like, Matt hates women, because I wouldn't say that. But yeah, I still don't get what Lyra Valkyria's like appeal is. She's Irish. I'm Irish. I like that. Oh, here we got a comment from James. Triple H was talking in the post show saying that SummerSlam is likely going to be 2 nights next year. He said, look how many people we couldn't fit on the card. Wow. That would be interesting, because as of right now, the 2-night SummerSlam is set for 2026 in Minneapolis. Next year, I forget where it's supposed to be, but it is not set for 2 nights. But who knows? Maybe that could change. Anyway, back to this match and me hating women. Lyra Valkyria. Besides being Irish and me being Irish, I don't know why I'm supposed to like her. She's the war goddess. Ember Moon was the war goddess. Ember Moon has been out of WWE for less than 5 years. I feel like WWE is getting a little disrespectful with passing on gimmicks and moves and saying like, oh, they're their own and whatnot. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't think they passed that time frame. And I get it. WWE is hotter than ever. Like, what they say goes for the most part. But at the same time, I feel like this industry, they always say it's all about respect. Like, they say, like, when you're a wrestler, when you go into the locker room, you're supposed to, like, shake everybody's hand. Like, you're literally supposed to go up to every single person and shake their hand. Like, that's the old school, proper, traditional, respectful thing to do. And I feel like if you're taking people's nicknames that have been gone out of the company for less than 5 years and giving it to somebody else, that's not cool in my book. That's not respectful. And I don't even think it's Lyra's fault, but like, that's one gripe I have against her now. The other gripe, it's like she's supposed to be the Valkyrie, or like what's that Irish like character folk thing. She's like a bird. She's a raven. She just looks like a bird lady. She looks like a big bird. She looks like, to me, what you combine Sweet D from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and you combine JoJo Siwa and her new, like, look at me, I'm coming into my own new character, and I won't say anything derogatory. She's not a leprechaun, Eric. I take offense to that. She's not a leprechaun. But yeah, a cross between JoJo Siwa's new, like, black whatever thing she's got going on, where she's in the black getup and the black makeup, and she looks like she's a backup dancer for Kiss. And you got Sweet D from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you know, fucking bird. And then you get Lyra Valkyria. And I'm like, I don't get why I'm supposed to like her. And she's not bad in the ring. Like, she's got a somewhat interesting look. but I just don't think this. I don't know. It's just not for me, and that's okay. She comes out and she's having a match with Shayna Baszler, and Shayna Baszler comes out with her crew. It's Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville. And as far as I can tell, this is the first time Zoe Stark came out, and she's dyed her hair. So it's not so much blonde anymore. It's mostly like my color brown hair, brunette, with a little bit left of the blonde. So maybe she heard my advice that it's just like, you can't be the one that stands out amongst these three because Sonya is supposed to be the leader. Like, I'll say that Sonya and Shayna Baszler, they don't really look alike, but at the same time, if they were they would be in the same police lineup. You know what I mean? Like, if you know what I'm saying? So the fact that they kind of cancel each other out and Sonya's the leader, you can't have Zoe Stark looking so different. So I felt like this is a good first step in that direction. Anyway, Lyra and Shayna have an okay match. I would say more than okay. It was decent, but it wasn't very long. It didn't feel like they were rushing, like I say they do a lot of times. Here's there's a comment here on X, like, what are they cooking? And it's a picture of a bunch of trios ladies. So we've got Valkyria and Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. That's one trio. You got Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi. That's another trio. You got the trio in this match, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Sonya Deville. And then you've got a couple in NXT who I don't know. You got the current tag team champions, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. And then, God, what's her name? The British gal who was also in NXT for like a hot second. She got a call up. I don't know what they're doing with her. You got Damage Control. And like I said, the NXT groups. So my guess, based on this X post, there seems to be a lot of trios in the WWE Women's Tag Team division between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. Would they do trios titles? I would say absolutely not. They're having enough trouble. We talked about it on the SummerSlam review. All the tag team division is in trouble right now. Like, both men's tag titles and the women's tag titles have not been defended on any PLE since WrestleMania. James in the comments says, I love trios, but they barely have enough tag teams. Here's what I was going with, James. If they wanted to do a trios tournament and just have like a trophy, I'd be cool with that. I don't know where you would fit it into your program. Would you have just a special show for that? Like, you know how they used to have stuff like that on the network before Peacock? You know, we had the Cruiserweight Classic. We had the Mae Young Classic. I wouldn't mind if they brought something like that back. I really thought that was something that Triple H was into, was tournaments, and I liked it. And even the Cruiserweight Classic, we should do a separate video on that. I would love to review that. I think it was a great concept. I think it did very, very well in the beginning, and then it kind of fizzled out in the end. But maybe they want to do a trios tournament. That's the only thing I could think of, because that X post was kind of spot on. There's like a bunch of effing trios right now in the women's division, which is wild. Like, good for them. Anyway, back to this match with Lyra Valkyria and Shayna Baszler. It was decent. I did notice Michael Cole just randomly brings up the fact that Shayna Baszler likes to make soup. And I was just like, what? Like, one, what does this got to do with anything? Two, are you trying to make Shayna Baszler more relatable? And three, what? Like, they went on about it for like a little bit. Like, they had a little rant. And don't get me wrong, I love a good rant. I rant all the time. You know me if you watch this pod. Like, but this just did not work. One, Shayna's a bad guy. You shouldn't be trying to make her relatable. Like, if anything, it'd be like, Shayna Baszler has a toenail collection. And everyone would be like, ew, gross, I hate her even more. Not, she makes soup. Me, I hear that. I'm like, Well, that's all I can. It was bizarre. Okay, we got a comment on X from Jim. Jim, are we doing the ats? I don't want to do. That's a lot of numbers and letters. Shayna Baszler lacks Riz to the point that Michael Cole is talking about her cooking soup. I will agree with that, but also, like, at one point, do you show that you have Riz during a match? Especially if you're, like, someone who's, like, a super competitive person like Shayna. Like, she's not, like, a character wrestler. I'm a UFC fighter, and I could fucking break your neck if I wanted to. Another comment from X. Michael Cole being so unserious because why are we discussing soup? I think it'd be fine if it was a one-off. Like, if you just mentioned that. But again, one, she's a bad guy. So you shouldn't be trying to make her relatable. Two, if she wanted to do that on social media, I'd be all for it. Like, if she wanted to be like, hey, guys, one of my hobbies is making soup. And I'm going to show you the soup I make. Today, I'm making gazpacho. I don't know. Like, that, I think people would be into that. And three, the other reason it didn't work is they went about it too long. And I know this is like a small gripe. Like, Matt, why are you talking about like the soup thing? Well, Twitter was talking about it. So obviously I'm not the only one who thought it was weird. Evan Bourne. They used to talk about how he was a postman or a postal worker. And they mentioned it more than once on WWE television, but they wouldn't go on and on and on about it. It would be like, Evan Bourne, he loves to be here. He never thought he'd be here. He did like a huge change in career paths. He was a postal worker, and like that was it. Maybe they'll get one postal joke in there. Speaking of jokes, we got a no soup for you Seinfeld gif about the Shayna thing. It says, I don't really care about the heel in a wrestling match cooking soup in their real life. Doesn't make them appear bad, just bland. Ruins the image. Don't do that again, Michael Cole. So this person, and I'll even say their thing. Bring it back real quick. I'll give them the @ It's from Francis Rastidi at the FRKO_. So they were with me, same thoughts, pretty much verbatim. So that was why it was all wrong. Towards the end of the match, it looks like Valkyria is going to win. She hits the Nightwing. DC character. All right, I'm starting to like Lyra Valkyria, everybody. That's all it took. DC Comics reference. It's some Dick Grayson up in this shit. All right, anyway, she hits the Nightwing on Shayna Baszler. She's going for the 1, 2, 3. Sonya Deville and Zoe Stark come in and break up the pin. I feel like, scratch. I feel like Shayna could have just taken the pin. I'm later on, we'll get to the later show, and I kind of understand why they didn't. At the same time, I'll get to that part later. Damage Control comes out to like help with the beatdown because Kaden Carter and Katana Chance have already been taken out. They let us know that happened like last week. I didn't watch Raw last week, but I guess the beatdown was bad enough that they're not out there to help Valkyria, because again, that's the trio that's going on. That one of the trios. Damage Control come out to make the save. It's already been on the card that later in the night, Dakota Kai, one of my faves, is going to be facing off against Sonya Deville, and we will get to that later. Also, at the end of this, Pat drops. I think he says like shit, and I'm like, Pat, what are you doing, man? Like, I curse all the time. I get it, but I'm not a professional on TV, and I feel like sometimes less is more. It is really funny when Pat like slips one out, whether he does it by mistake and just like happenstance, or you see it building inside him, and he's just like, I know I shouldn't say it. I know I'm going to get in trouble. I know I'm going to get fined, but shit. And it's great. Like SummerSlam when he called, he's like, Dominic Mysterio, you're good. He's a no good. He's no good piece of shit. I was like, that, I popped for that. It was funny. worth it, worth every dime. Pat, if you're ever in trouble and you need to start a GoFundMe page for like all the fines you've gotten for cursing, I will pay that tab, but I will not pay it for like a simple aftermath match beatdown. Not even a beatdown, just like a scuffle. It was a scuffle, and it's like, Pat, save the cursing for the big moments. You can absolutely do it for the women. You did it for, it was on Dom, but it was the aftermath of a women's match on SummerSlam. But it was just like, I kind of just rolled my eye. I was like, bro, like, come on, no one cares. And I props for trying to make people care, but soup's not the way to make us care, and cursing to try and elevate the situation is not the way to make us care. Just have good women's matches with stakes that are like more than 10 minutes or at least 10 minutes. That's how you do it. We got something from Twitter here. X. Ooh, I wonder if she's saying bad stuff. So Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, she got suspended recently. She posted an hour ago, you ever heard a rumor about yourself and actually wanted to hear more? Like, no way. What did I do next? Oh, Brett. Yeah, we've all heard that. We've all seen that image. That's okay. We're not really gonna discuss the whole Britt Baker scenario. I don't even know why we put it up there, producer boy. Maybe because women, but I hate women, so like just didn't fly. I'm kidding. Love ladies. Okay. I'll shut up about that. Moving on. We got Bronson Reed backstage with Adam Pearce. I was about to say Pierce Brosnan. Bronson Reed, he's mad about his situation. I think he wanted to have a match with Sheamus or something. Adam Pearce is like, it was already on the books with Ludwig, and he's like, what do I have to do to get some attention around here? And Adam Pearce is like, calm down. And Bronson Reed's just like, I'm just going to have to, take matters into my own hands, essentially. And I just groaned. I was like, this guy's been misused since his return. I am so underwhelmed. He's a great talent, but I couldn't care less about anything he's doing right now. Oh my God, please just fire him and let him go to New Japan or AEW and have another match with Okada. Like, God damn it. This is just frustrating. Do I have any drink left? I do. So don't worry. We're getting to some positive stuff. I know it's been a lot of negative stuff. This actually, I think, was more than a decent episode. I thought it was pretty good. The 3 hours, even though I missed a little bit in the beginning, they didn't drag. So we're going to move on. So next up, we got, as far as I know, maybe I missed something. Okay, no, I think the next part, and even if I missed something, this is just how we're rolling, guys. CM Punk comes to the ring. He's happy. He does a promo. It's pretty solid. There's a couple little, I just watch Punk's promos nowadays, and a lot of times I'm just like, you seem kind of out of touch. Like, you're charismatic, you're talented. I'm happy to see you. But some of the things you say, I just kind of like, I'm like, what? That was a weird thing to say. Like, not like cancel that guy or anything like that, but just kind of like, that was odd. Kind of took me out of it. So he always has one of those moments in his promos. But regardless, it was still good. It was one of his better ones, I would say. Not like super impassionate, but it was solid. Seth comes out. He takes off his jacket. He wants to fight Punk. They're about to square off in the ring. It's great. And then Drew's in the stands and he's talking and they don't fight. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe just throw some punches anyway. That was my vibe, but they couldn't do that because that would go against the script. So basically, Drew McIntyre antagonizes Punk. So Punk still wants Drew. That was the promo. Still wants Drew in a match. Looks like Seth wants to intervene. He wants Punk in a match. And Drew is just kind of happy to be riling up anybody at any time he can. He's not learned his lesson clearly. So anyway, Punk runs out to chase after Drew in the stands. In the ring. Here we go. We got a picture. We got a little video on X of CM Punk chasing after Drew McIntyre. I mean, staff is just pointing like where to send them, and like the cameraman's chasing after Punk, and you don't see Drew; he's too far away. But everyone's just kind of like, he's hitting all the checkpoints, and the cameraman's doing a pretty good job keeping up with him. I'll give him that. Anyway, we go back to Seth in the ring. He's all alone, and who comes out? Bronson Reed. And this is where Pac should have dropped the S-bomb. He should be like, he's beating the shit out of him, Cole. It was great. He just beating the crap out of Seth Rollins. He hits a tsunami. He hits another tsunami. And he hits a third tsunami. And I'm just like, that was solid. Wait. Bronson Reed, do I think you're going to beat Seth Rollins in a match? Probably not, but this was at least interesting. Like, it was unexpected, and you caught my attention, and it was interesting. But wait, there's more. He hit a fourth tsunami. Like, come on. People always do one finishing move, or they'll do two finishing moves, or maybe they'll do three. Like, when's the last time somebody just went and assaulted someone and did a fourth move? But it gets crazier. Like, I haven't seen something this crazy. Like, you think, wait, he has to be done, right? He's done, right? No, he's not done. He's not done. And then he like walks away and you're like, oh, I guess he's done. Wait, there's a fifth tsunami. So yeah, that happens. But then there's a sixth tsunami. So 6 tsunamis, half a dozen tsunamis on Seth Rollins. Seth's bleeding from the mouth. It's amazing. I haven't seen something that funny or entertaining or brutal, I want to say, since Braun Strowman killed Roman Reigns with backstage, just killing him and then killing him on the gurney and then killing him by flipping over the ambulance. Like, it had that vibe. Like, not as crazy, like, kind of like replay value or obviously stunt or prop as that Braun Strowman thing, but it still reminded me of that, and I really enjoyed it. So bravo, Bronson Reed, and I'm excited to see a match between the two of them. I think that could be a really, really good match, and I hope they give it to Bronson Reed. Like, you can have Seth beat him in like the next 2 matches, like do a series of 3. I would be fine with that. Is it ideal? No. But at least Bronson gets one win over Seth, and it's the first one. I think that's pretty good. I mean, that worked out for Kevin Owens and John Cena. I hated when they did it to that. I think it should either been a one and done, or Kevin should have won the third match. But that's a discussion for video highlight, something we do down the line, because we're definitely going to be doing those. Don't worry. We have lots of opinions on all old stuff, new stuff, in between stuff, all that stuff. Lots of ideas that we'd love to share with you guys. And yeah, if any of you guys want to chime in, let me hear what you think. But so yeah, 6 tsunamis. Oh, and it was really funny. Jackie Redmond asked backstage what the health update is with Seth, and Pierce accidentally said that they had sent them to a hospital, not a local medical facility, but a hospital. So that's when you know it's serious, at least in my book. I thought that was very funny. Okay, what happened next? We got the final testament. Oh, here we go. We got something on X. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell match is currently planned as the main event of October's Bad Blood pay-per-view. Okay, that's fine, but at the same time, we're in August. So they're not going to do anything for Bash in Berlin. Fine, it's Bash in Berlin. Like, we don't need to see Drew lose in Europe again. Do they have a September pay-per-view? Somebody let me know. Look that up, producer boy. In the meantime, I'll keep going. We got the Final Testament, who's just like, I hate them. I think they're a complete waste of time, and I groan all the time. But at the same time, I'm also kind of interested with the way that Karrion Kross keeps spinning things. Like, he has to keep losing big matches and all his feuds, and somehow he halfway convinces me that, like, he's still, like, the guy. You know what I mean? He's just like, last week he was like, oh, Xavier Woods, you beat me the week before. I let you beat me. Like, I let you, and then he ends up beating him that night. So, like, maybe he was right. But Xavier Woods also called him out and made him look like a big doofus. But regardless, that's just, I think I will say that's one of the more interesting things about Karrion Kross. I do wish his matches were more captivating at this point, or that maybe things have worked out a little bit better. But he is getting screen time, and again, he is saying somewhat interesting things. NXT No Mercy is in September. Okay, so we're not getting a main card pay-per-view in September, but a NXT pay-per-view. That's fine by me. That's interesting. Thank you, Eric, for that info. So anyway, in this match, Kofi Kingston's back. He's not hurt anymore, and it's the Judgment Day, the New Day versus the Authors of Pain of the Final Testament. So they're having a match. It's a fine match. I'm sorry I don't do a lot of details on them and the matchups, but it's fine. Like, I don't ever really expect much out of AOP. And I've seen New Day like a million times. I feel like unless they're facing the Usos, I don't think there's anything that can really captivate me at this point. Not that they're not capable of good matches. It's just like, again, you've seen them so many times. This time they're dressed up as the Ninja Turtles, though, based on their new action figures. So that was kind of cool. I think there's only 3 action figures in that series. Kind of weird. We got one thing about the New Day. They're always going to pay tribute to our childhoods. And there's a picture of them as Dragon Ball Z, as the Power Rangers, and of Ninja Turtles. So it is kind of odd. I if I'm thinking correctly, I really hope the Judgment Day isn't called New Judgment Day. That would be bad, especially because the New Day is on the same brand as them. This action figure set, it's got Xavier Woods as, oh God, we'll get to that. Don't spoil it. Give me a second. We got Xavier Woods dressed up as Michelangelo, Kofi Kingston dressed up as Donatello, or maybe the other way around. And then you got Roman Reigns as Splinter. But I don't know if they did Raphael or Leonardo, which is weird. Anyway, they're having this match. Karrion Kross gets involved. But who comes in for the save? A big chocolate man. Could that be Big E? No, it's not Big E. It's Odyssey Jones. Odyssey Jones? OMG, Odyssey Jones. What the fuck? Thought he was dead. LOL. Like, that's pretty much what it is. And I really hope you all remember that Punk promo on Kevin Nash. Otherwise, that would have sounded really insensitive. Look it up. Great to see Odyssey Jones. I always liked him. He was in that, like, right before I stopped watching NXT, but he was one of the up-and-coming guys out of that group that, besides the Evolve guys, I did not like at all, but I did like Odyssey Jones. He's kind of unique. Just a big guy, big meaty man, you know? So he came out, he was in street clothes, and he had a New Day t-shirt on where, you know, like you just have it as kind of like a tarp, you know, like how HBK would have his shirts. So he comes out, makes the save. Kofi gets the pin on one of the AOP guys, Akam or Razar. Who gives a shit about those guys? I don't. Sorry, I'm still kind of bitter over that stadium show they did where they like booked the venue and they booked the stars and they kind of just backed out and like people didn't get paid and somehow they were never punished or looked down upon for that. They got jobs at WWE again. Anyway, you got a video from X saying Odyssey Jones pulling up to help New Day after being gone from TV for the last 2 years. And it's Spider-Man 2 where Toby busts out of all the debris after Dr. Octopus kidnaps Mary Jane. But yes, super odd. I guess I'm glad they have something for him to do. He makes the save, and he not only makes the save, like he cleans house afterwards. He took both Akam and Razor at the same time and did a sidewalk slam. Like, how insane is that? One, for anyone to be able to do that to anyone, but also the fact that Akam and Razor are not small dudes. It was nuts. So that was crazy. But I think there's more to this, and we'll get into it. Let me see if I need. Is there any other tips for that? Okay, so I don't know if this happened right after that, but I'm just going to follow through with it anyway, and we can just skip it later if it's out of sequence. So they go backstage, and it's Kofi Kingston with Odyssey Jones and Xavier Woods. And Xavier Woods is just like kind of confused, as we, the fans at home and in the arena, probably were. And Kofi Kingston explains, hey, when I was like hurt, I was rehabbing at the Performance Center. And like, that's where I met Odyssey Jones, and we really hit it off. And, you know, that's why he made the save tonight. And we have as someone pointed out in X, and that I'm going to point out now, I don't know if Xavier, people are saying he didn't look happy. I think he looked more perplexed, confused, maybe concerned. I don't think he was necessarily unhappy. And here's the thing about Odyssey Jones. Personally, I wouldn't want to see him be the new third member of the New Day. I think that would only be acceptable if Big E officially retired. He came out and he said, hey guys, I will never wrestle again. Thank you so much. I was like, I had a great career. I'm so thankful. But this is my goodbye from my in-ring career. Then I think it would be like, okay, I guess you could do that. But he hasn't done that. And we don't know if Odyssey Jones is set to be an official New Day member. You know, he was wearing street clothes and he just had the shirt on. Like, not even a full shirt like this, but like, you know, the tarp. I think what they're going to do is that he will be their heavy. He will be their help. And maybe he does become a complete third member. And maybe Xavier Woods, that's when he's unhappy. That's when he lets us know he's unhappy. And he leaves the New Day. And that's when he joins the Final Testament. Because Karrion Kross, for whatever reason, has been trying to get Xavier Woods to join the Final Testament. And obviously Xavier Woods has resisted at every point in time because he's loyal to Kofi. But maybe he deems this partnership, this ally, Odyssey Jones, is being disloyal to the New Day, being disloyal to Big E and Xavier Woods. Maybe it's a betrayal, and Xavier Woods does some betraying of his own. What do you guys think? You let me know. People, who we got? Noir RBR on X says Xavier Woods hating on Odyssey like Finn was hating on Priest. Perhaps. Time will tell. We'll have to keep watching to find out. So next up, we got a promo video, like a video package, of JD McDonough. And it was good. I'll hand it to JD McDonough. This was good. I mean, like, I was very much on the, always kind of like, JD don't McGoogle me. Like, I don't really care about this guy. He's Irish, so I like that. But, like, he always just kind of felt like the poor man's Finn Balor. But this was a solid video package, like, explaining why he betrayed Priest, or really, like, why he's staying loyal to Finn and not, you know, siding with Priest. And he makes really good points here. You know, the best bad guys are the ones that are telling the truth, or at least that believe what they're saying. And he's making good points how, like, Priest never wanted him in the Judgment Day. that was the main one. And just like, obviously, Finn's my boy. Like, he's the one who trained me. We're both from Ireland. We're currently tag team champions. Like, obviously, Priest, fuck your couch, If anyone should be in the Final Testament, it should be Damian Priest, Religion. Yeah. That's what I want with my wrestling. Moving on. So what do we got? A-Town Down Under. They were announced as like participating in Raw tonight. For that, SmackDown will get 2 Raw guys, I think, on SmackDown the next episode. Will they get 3? I don't know, because Randy Orton was on Raw tonight as well. That's a 3rd SmackDown guy. Who's to say? We'll see. Interesting match to put them in, though. They went up against Awesome Truth. Obviously, the interesting part about this is that they both won. When they split the tag titles back up again at WrestleMania, A-Town Down Under won 1 set and Awesome Truth won the other. The match was fine. Nothing crazy happened. R-Truth had like a flurry of offense in the beginning that was fun to see. Especially R-Truth, man. Like, where does this guy get it? Where does he keep it after all these years is what I want to know. Just really impressive work. And everyone looked good in this match. No one like was flubbing it up. It wasn't a 5-star classic or nothing. But I feel like that Awesome Truth breakup has got to happen soon. I referenced it weeks ago when we saw that R-Truth was acting like an idiot and cost Miz and I think it was Strowman in that trios match. And Miz looked very angry at Truth. Tonight, Truth tagged himself in, unabruptly, unannounced. And he got Grayson Waller up in a fireman's carry, swung him around, hit Miz, hit the move, but Grayson Waller wasn't legal. It was Austin Theory. Austin Theory hits him with the A-Town Down, pins Truth for the 1, 2, 3. And again, Awesome Truth didn't break up. They actually kind of hugged it out, shrugged it off. But that's got to be coming, man, right? Like, Miz has got to turn heel again. It's when he's at his best. I didn't mind bringing back Awesome Truth. I thought their first run was great back, in 2011. But the fact that they didn't win the tag titles when the tag division was not great back then, they really deserved it. So I thought it was cool seeing them win at Mania this year, especially since it was R-Truth's first Mania win. So we'll see where that goes. It's got to head to a breakup, though, right? We also got on the flip coin, the flip side of the JD promo video, the video package. We got a Damian Priest video package. It was also great. Like, I feel like Priest, when he does his video packages, do it in English. When you do him backstage promos, do it in Spanish. And we'll get the subtitles. And then when you're out in the ring, do a little Spanglish. Works for me. Anyway, he says oh, what you think you can beat me? You think Finn is sending you to beat me? No, Finn's sending you to distract me. Like he's thinking I'm gonna waste all my ammo on you. But I've got one in the chamber for Finn, don't worry. And I just paraphrased what he said. Watch the promo, the video package. It was good. It was rough. It's kind of things like tough guy, I would say. And Damian Priest's a tough guy. The guy's hard, I don't know what to think about being hard, but I think Damian Priest, he knows something about being hard. So they have a match, and it's pretty good. I thought it was going to be a straight up squash. It was JD McDonough, Carlito's out there with JD, and they even had a sequence where they were just brawling, and JD, he's not a small guy, but he is a cruiserweight. And Damian Priest is a very large man. And they're just hitting each other. And like Damian Priest obviously got the best of it. But at the same time, like JD's like a scrappy motherfucker. And I was like, good for him. You know, like he's putting the work in. He looks good. Obviously, he's here to lose to Priest. That's what happened. But like, at least he looks good. And like, it was a competitive match too. It was fun. I liked it. At one point, JD hit like a headbutt and then a moonsault. But at the end, it all breaks down. Like I don't. JD didn't even lose by pinfall. He just the Finn came out. The whole Judgment Day came out, and they were beating up Damian. It got thrown out. It was a DQ, and then Rhea Ripley came out for the save. And then unfortunately, like JD ended up getting like walloped by both Rhea and Damian, which I didn't necessarily need to see again, especially was doing like I feel like they could have all just kind of scurried off, you know, like we're like, oh, Rhea and Damian, maybe they got the better of them and like got some slugs in, but not necessarily like, oh, like one person gets fed to the opposition and like eats the finishing move, like that kind of scenario. Comments on Twitter: Damian Priest and JD McDonough cooked. The entire Judgment Day, new and old, cooked. What a fucking segment. Yeah, it was, I think it was very good. Like I had that small gripe at the end, but it was exciting. Not like entirely predictable. Again, I thought it was going to be straight up squash, and it wasn't. So that was fun. I think both guys should be very proud of themselves. And, you know, you can kind of guess where the story's going, but not every twist and turn. You know, obviously it's going to go with Damian Priest versus Finn Balor at some point. And obviously it's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Liv. But again, who knows what will happen? You just got to keep watching and find out. And it's exciting and it's interesting and it's fun. So keep these things coming. Maybe they get the main event next week. So what else we got? Dakota Kai gets attacked by Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville backstage with the rest of the damage control. But Dakota significantly more than everybody else. They do a thing where they take out her leg. It didn't look convincing at all. It just looked like a basic beatdown. Like you should be able to walk and like have a match in the next half hour. So that was lame. It was lame. So instead of it being Sonya Deville versus Dakota Kai, which I thought, you know, that's going to happen, and Dakota Kai is going to have to lose another match. I think she's like literally won. She has won one match since before WrestleMania. Like it's insane how much this girl loses, and it sucks because I think she's super talented. I think they really should have done like when her and Raquel Rodriguez were together. I think they should have done like the whole like Raquel is Diesel and Dakota is Shawn Michaels. And sure, Raquel won the world title first, but so did Diesel. Like where's Dakota's singles title? That's what I want to know. She deserves it. I hope it comes. I don't think it will, though. I don't think it ever will. I'm just sad. So let's get to this match. Io Sky versus Sonya Deville. Guess what, guys? It sucked. It was fucking awful. And I'm not just saying that because I hate women. It was just, they I mostly blame Sonya Deville. I don't think she's any good at all. I know James likes her. I think he thinks that she has potential. I think whatever potential she had is like come and gone. We'll get to this. There was a saving grace with the match. But overall, this match was awful. And the crowd died. I will get to the good part of the match, so don't get me wrong. I just want to rattle off about Sonya Deville real quick. I understand she had some like, you know, her situation in her private life. Like no one should have to go through that, whether I think you're a bad wrestler or not. Like she doesn't deserve that. No one deserves that. It's like really shitty. And from a wrestling perspective, and like this is like the least of it, but I still want to comment on it. it sucked because we were supposed to get a hair versus hair match at SummerSlam. I think it was SummerSlam years ago against her and Mandy Rose, and instead they had to change it to like a career versus career match, and Sonya lost so she could take time off. Understandably, take all the time you need, and that's what she did, and that's good. Mental health is really important. But again, back to it's sucking wrestling wise. We haven't had a hair versus hair match for women in WWE in over 20 years. Like, I'm not saying like we should definitely shave a woman, but if a woman's like up to doing that, definitely bring that back. Like, that's a huge, like, that's something you can be like, put in your cap that you're gonna have to wear because your head is shaved. Like, that's big. That's such a crazy stipulation. And if you don't know, we weren't even supposed to have a women's title match at WrestleMania 20. Molly Holly just said to Vince McMahon, like, bro, I'll shave my head if you give me a match. And he's like, done. So again, no woman should have to do that then or now. But the fact that we had a few years ago, we had a hair versus hair match that was going to take place and it didn't happen bums me out. Like, that's something that'll get people to talk. People will talk about that. But yeah, back to this match. It sucked. Sonya Deville, I think she sucks as a wrestler. But towards the end, Io Sky did start to pick it up a bit. And the crowd did get back into it. And the climax of that, we showed it if you're watching on YouTube with us, was that Sonya's gals got involved. So Kairi Sane had to get involved on Io's behalf. They both went to the same corner on the top rope, and Kairi Sane did a insane elbow on Zoe Stark, simultaneously with Io Sky doing a moonsault onto Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler. Apparently next week we're getting WWE Women's Tag Team Championship #1 contenders match. Io Sky and Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. And Sammy at Io's The Limit on X says, I just want Io Sky in the world title picture, man. Cry face. I think we're getting there, dude, because obviously Damage Control has gone face. Obviously, Io is still the leader of Damage Control. I thought maybe Asuka would come back tonight. I thought that was what they were leading to, like Dakota Kai gets hurt. Who's going to replace, like, also all the other members got, not really hurt, but they did get hit backstage. Maybe Asuka comes out. That's what I thought they were going with. They didn't. Also on X, we got Murphs 56 says, wrestling Sonya in 2024, even for the great Io Sky, is, well, it's just tough, I'll say. Yeah, it was an awful, awful match. Just nobody looked good until the end. And they're trying to push Sonya. She lost, by the way. Io Sky pinned her clean. Like, what do you do with this group? I wasn't interested in this group. I don't think a lot of people were interested in this group. Sonya, I think, has done better work in the past. I know James was a fan of her authority role that she had, like where she worked with Adam Pearce. I thought it was decent. I thought Eve Torres's similar role back in the day, like a decade ago, was better. But I will say I did think Sonya's rivalry with Naomi was pretty good. But I still don't like her as a wrestler. I don't think she's very good in general. I think some of the Naomi stuff was pretty good. But in general, I don't think she was very good. And I think it'd be hard to argue that she had a strong performance tonight. In my opinion, she had a pretty awful performance. And she lost. I don't know where you do with this group from now. If they're going to have a #1 contenders match next week for the tag titles, I guess maybe they're doing that. I don't know, and I don't care. Let's be honest. But let's move on. Backstage, we got Ilya talking to Sami Zayn. Ilya, tells Sami, like, hey, you were a great champion. Like, don't worry about this. And like, Sami's like, hey, thank you very much. And like, Ilya, I know you'll be a great champion one day soon as well. And they part ways. Mutual respect. I like it. Then Jey Uso comes in. Jay's got all the energy. Sami's kind of, he's down. And Jey just keeps doing what good friends do. Just keeps, yeet, yeet, yeet. He's getting them riled up, like in a good way, getting them back on his feet. You see that you see Sami, he's getting a little oozy. They didn't say it, but he's getting oozy. And they do the back and forth and the A, and we find out that Sami next week has got a rematch with Braun Breaker, and Jey is also just like, hey, you win that title back, and then you and me, we're gonna finish business with the Judgment Day, and we're gonna get those tag titles. And that was something that I predicted, that at least Jey and Sami would be teaming up to take on Finn and JD, which I love. And it was good to see this. Again, Sami Zayn's match got cut short at SummerSlam. If you saw my SummerSlam review with Rev and James, I said I thought it should have been a triple threat with either adding Ilya or Jey, just to extend Sami's reign until the next pay-per-view where he could lose it to Braun. They didn't do that. I think in hindsight, Sami had a very good reign. Should have been longer, and obviously it wasn't as good as Gunther's, but like, good luck following up Gunther's reign. Like, it just, that's a tall task. But I'm interested. I'm interested in least in seeing Sami and Jey take on the Judgment Day. Not crazy about having to see Sami lose to Braun Breaker again, which is probably what's going to happen. Moving on, we got I think there was a couple videos tonight. I only caught one, like, of the VHS tapes of the Wyatt 6. This one's of Huskus, aka Joe Gacy. And I will complain about this again. I've complained about it before. They started the video with nothing in the corner. Like, there was no sci-fi logo. And I watched the show tonight. It wasn't always on. The sci-fi logo was not always on. So you've got, like, what, a 60-minute video? Not 60 minute. Like, 60-second video that's supposed to be VHS, where the sides are chopped off, and like halfway through you decide to put the sci-fi logo on, so it's cut between the footage and the black line. And then what's crazy is once it ended, they went to Chad Gable and the Creed brothers, and they got rid of the sci-fi logo again. And it's like, oh my God, you fucking morons in the production, in sci-fi or whoever, like, just don't show the logo for 60 seconds. It's not that hard. You can show it any other time during the show. We know you don't have to show it 24/7 because I watched the show and it wasn't always there. So just don't show it during these VHS packages. It's pretty simple. And they can't do it because you probably got someone who's underpaid and understaffed. I don't know. This is my rant. It's nothing against anyone personally. It's someone who likes to make content videos. It's tough to see things like that where this is just like a really simple fix. Like, just don't show it for 30 seconds. 30 seconds longer. That's all you need. Sorry for that rant. Got a little intense. I apologize. But those are my thoughts. And besides the cursing, I stick with it. Gable tells us that, we learned earlier, I forgot to mention that Gable, we see backstage, what's her name? Ivy Nile. She's with the Creed brothers. Maxine comes over. She's like, what's the deal with the Creed brothers? They attacked Otis, and Tozawa, and like Ivy Nile like understands, like, yeah, that was messed up, but she's trying to kind of like defend them because, they're her boys. Gable's just like, no, come with me. Fuck Maxine, come with me. And Ivy does come along. So it looks like she's picked her side, and her side is with American Made. That's the group Gable came up with. It's not terrible. It's not great. It's not as good as American Alpha. I'll say that. I feel like that's one they could bring back. I feel like there's been enough time that Jason Jordan has not been wrestling that you could bring back American Alpha. Even though we did see Jason Jordan tonight when Bronson Reed was attacking Seth Rollins. I don't know. Just American Made is not a great group in my mind. We're going to the main event. It's American Made versus the Wyatt Six. Specifically, Joe Gacy, Eric Rowan, and Dexter Loomis. The intro is really cool. I think both teams had good intros. Think literally it's the debut, the in-ring debut of both of these trios, and someone's gonna have to lose. I feel like that's never a good sign. I don't know why we couldn't have gotten. I'm sure you can figure out who's gonna win, but I don't know why Gable and the Creeds hadn't done a trios match yet up until now. They have a pretty solid match. There's a lot of Wyatt callbacks, a lot of homages, tributes, what have you. I think everyone looked pretty good. At one point, Joe Gacy hits an awesome springboard double clothesline on the Creeds. That was pretty cool. I don't want to harp on this too much because I have to say, this was a decent episode. I feel like I've been overly negative. I think it's just because maybe it's getting a little later. I'm getting a little cranky. But Rowan, how do I say this politely? It was noticeable that Eric Rowan had put on a little bit of weight. It happens to the best of us. I understand it's a hard industry to be in. I couldn't imagine being that industry, the constant working out, the dieting, the traveling, the stress. So he doesn't look terrible. Let's put it that way. He doesn't look terrible, but it is noticeable that he put on some weight. He was performing well, I would say, up until he kind of did one of those somersaults, over the ropes. He landed it pretty clean, but it was a little rough. I would say maybe don't do that one again unless you slim down a little bit. Because now I'm going to get positive. Oh, we got something from on X at I Talk Rasslin says all that shit talking about the Wyatt Six being ass in the ring, yet they had a banger. I don't know where all that's coming from. Maybe because none of them have really done anything significant on their own. Championship wise, I mean, with the exception of Bo Dallas. I mean, Eric Rowan does have a singles win over Roman Reigns. I think that's pretty big, though it is pre tribal chief. Regardless, I want to give Eric Rowan some compliments because I had some, obviously some. I don't want to say super negative, but they were definitely or even complaints. But regardless, all his power moves looked great. All of them were convincing. He wasn't huffing and puffing or anything. All I'm saying is that maybe don't do the somersault. I don't think he did the spin kick, the high spin kick that he's done in the past, which sometimes he'll land well and sometimes he won't. And that happens to everybody with everybody's moveset. But I don't know if he could still pull that one off. Got something else from X at Wrestling Humble. Wyatt Six didn't have the mask during the match. They had an actual wrestling match without any over-the-top stuff. The crowd was hyped. Such a good sign for the group long term. I definitely wanted to talk about that. So I think in today's day and age, in 2024, where we know everything, everybody has a social media page or everyone has a camera, and you can always take a picture of someone that you see. you can't, when you've already had a character, you can't have a new character based on an established group of like a crazy character. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all know Joe Gacy. If you haven't seen it, look up Joe Gacy, the most illegal move in pro wrestling. It's one of my favorite videos. And we know he's been in NXT, so you see him. I don't know how much you can pull off being Huskus Harris, Huskus, or just was it Huskus Harris or just Huskus? So I like that they're kind of all having an identity crisis, but they acknowledged in these lead up videos that they are who they've always been as well. They're all their previous WWE characters. And yeah, I think the masks that they have are all very theatrical, but you probably can't wrestle in them, like especially an extended match. So I think it's good what they're doing. I like what they're doing, that they're kind of doing a duality here. That all these people in WWE were lost, and now through this new Wyatt Six, this new formation, this new group of, you know, the old Wyatt family, they can have these new personifications. So I think that really works well. Somebody on Twitter thinks Dom and Finn are going to be the Wyatt Six new targets. Who's to say? I mean, we still need to see a singles match from Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy. That's the other one. I'm like, I don't think I would ever want to see Uncle Howdy like wrestle. You know what I mean? Bo Dallas isn't a great name either, but like we're established as Bo Dallas. Like, he has had matches. He's a former NXT champion, former tag team champion. Like, he can do it. I wouldn't mind if you changed his name though to Wyatt Rotunda. I think that would be cool. Anyway, get to this match. It was a solid match, and the Wyatts win. They pin Gable, which kind of bummed me out. It makes me think that maybe this rivalry is over, like it's a one and done. Because I thought they might do Bo Dallas versus Chad Gable, but if Chad Gable's already gotten pinned, like, you just get him pinned again in a singles match. I don't know if I really see that. The ending of the show, like, they put the little graphic on the side and it ends, but then it ends like an old Wyatt video package with you know, and that was really good. Like, that was awesome and unexpected and like really, what's the word? Theatrical. So it's just amazing to me that they can do that in the production truck, but they can't tell like Sci-Fi or USA, hey, just don't put that logo up for 30 to 60 seconds. You can put it up the rest of the night during the program. Just don't do it here. Like, I don't know what the deal is there, because obviously they're capable of greatness. And this was a pretty solid episode. I know I complained a lot, but it's always it's usually when I have one of the guys to do this with me, we bounce off the good stuff better. But this was Raw. I'm tired. I have work tomorrow. If you like us, please follow us on Facebook, Twitter or X, YouTube, as well as Instagram. On Instagram, I'm doing a lot of stuff with me at Mean Streak Matt, but also doing stuff on the pod Instagram. So at Market Down Pod, check us out. We're about to hit the necessary subscribers for monetization, and then we can do even more stuff for you guys. We can sell merch. We can start doing request videos. We have a lot of stuff in the pipe. We even have some interviews that we're ready to. We're holding off on releasing till the time is right. So those are coming soon, and we're always having giveaways as well. So always be on the lookout for those on our social media platforms. You don't want to miss out. Always great stuff. Hope you like this episode. It's tough with 3-hour Raws and then work the next day. But we got through it. I'm happy. I hope you're happy. Proud of everybody. Producer boy, you got anything before we go, or